Hey, so my name is Kelly, and I have been raising this little crossbeak named Chizzers for about 10 months. And we recently, I'm just showing you her little beak, we recently started crop feeding her, which is a little different than the syringe feeding and the also a little pellet feeding I had been doing. So I just wanted to show you what I learned in a fast and efficient manner. I did a lot of research to figure out how to keep her safe. First thing I did is I made a chicken straitjacket. It's just a sleeve off of my husband's t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt. I got a stool under my leg here, and this is where I kind of prop her up. But you put the collar over her head and slide her little body around that sleeve, and with one hand, I usually put it under her body and then pull her in there. And there you go, chicken straitjacket. And this is one of the ways that I keep her safe when I'm crop feeding her, because if she can't thrash, then I know that that tube isn't going to go anywhere and potentially asphyxiate her or plug up her airway. So I've got a little bit of food in here and the tube. On this tube, I have marked, there's a little line right there. One of the things I learned is to figure out how far down there to get it. I got it down there the first time. I palpated to make sure I had it in the right spot. And then I made a line so that every time I know about how far I should be in there. I have a food in here that's thick enough it's not going to fall out when I put it down her throat, so that if she does happen to get any near her airway, it's not going to drop in there. So the food is fairly thick in consistency. So then the crop on a chicken is on the right hand side. It's right about over here. And so you're going to try to thread that little tube down about on the right hand side of her throat. And it should go in there pretty easily. Sometimes there's a little bit of resistance. She kind of struggles a little bit. My line is all the way up here by my thumb, so I know I have a little bit to go. Kind of thread it back down there. Sometimes if it gets stuck, I'll try to extend her vertically, and it makes a little bit more room, or I'll get past a kink in there. And I just try to go really gently until I get to about the little sweet spot. There we go. Okay, so here is my line on my chicken, or on my tube, and there's how far it is in her beak, so I know I'm there. So I do two things once I have it in there. First of all, I look for that line. Okay, three things. I listen to make sure she's breathing well. My hand's covered. So as long as she's breathing well, she's fighting me pretty good, but when she has normal respirations and she's not coughing or choking, I know that that tube is not down into her esophagus, which is definitely something we don't want. We don't want it down in our airway. And then the other thing that I do is I make sure that when I feel her throat right here, I can feel two tubes. So I can feel her esophagus, and I can, or her trachea, not her esophagus, her trachea. I can feel her trachea, and I can also feel the tube next to it. Now, if I follow that tube down, I can actually feel it all the way down. I can't feel it past her sleeve that she's got going on, but I can feel it all the way down here. So I know that it's down into her crop and not into her trachea. And so then I'm going to hold this tube in place while I kind of hold her head so that she can't shake it out. And then I just very gently, I hold on to the edge of this tube right here so that it doesn't separate from the syringe. And then I just very gently press until that food goes down into her crop. And I just try to keep an eye on her. And if at any point she starts struggling during the process of me putting this food down in there, I just wait. Because the last thing I want is for any of that food to come up and potentially get into her mouth or into her airway. So sometimes I use my chest as a little pusher. Sometimes I can brace it differently, and I can lean down on the countertop and I can push this way. And then once I've got it in there, we just pull that tube right out just like that. And there she is. She swallows it down. So anyway, I hope those little tips help. I did mean to say a trachea, not esophagus. So make sure that that tube goes down into their esophagus and not into the trachea, so we keep their windpipe safe. Anyway, this is Chiz, and we hope you appreciated our video. She's a beautiful little crossbeak bird that I love so very much. And I hope this helps somebody else in the future.